The sizzling sausage. Studs on cement. Sport in the crisp wintry air. When the drawbridge goes up, see the absolute state of it. You're with Pez and Higgos, it's the Circus.
Magic round comes and goes, but nothing lights up the imagination like an aggressive DM saying to watch your back. We're talking coaching sprays, flipping birds, who's hot and who's not. Mary Fowler ruptures her ACL in more good news for the Matildas. Trent Alexander-Arnold leaves his boyhood club in Liverpool, and Ange keeps his second season trophy cabinet open in the Europa League with Tottenham. Piastri is good in the car, but Doohan is not, as the Grand Prix hits Miami as a sweet treat for car nerds and guys that like other guys with big necks. There's also Kagisa Rabada's drug suspension, or not, a World Test Championship final bat-off in the County Championship, and Josh Giddey is playing some pickup ball in Frankston, Bezza. We're coming to you live from Mumbai, although this is recorded to you. You can boys actually us and tell us it's actually Bombay, but we'll also be your whipping boys for all the incorrect pronunciations, enunciations, and everything else we got wrong from last week in your boys actually. Pezza, how are you?
I'm great, thanks, mate. We're knee deep into this tour of India. Already amassing a number of off-record phone calls telling us to shut the fuck up about stuff.
Yeah.
Which is good, and that's part of why you do it. That's why we're in this game.
Yeah.
I'm even better right now because I'm seeing Fox Sports has an article about Lee Odenryan and Martin Offiah's race in 1992 at halftime of a tour match, and I remember watching that, and I remember where I was. So I'm fucking.
It was a real where were you moment.
I am up and about reading about Lee Odenryan in Mumbai, in Bandra, Mumbai. I think that the Circus owes it to itself and to its audience to pat ourselves on the back. The re-election of Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is very fair to say that turned on his appearance on this show.
No question.
Very happy to say that Labor paid us $1 million to have him on the show, plus tax.
Yeah. And super.
Yeah. So we really pulled the wool over your eyes there, everybody.
Yeah.
Florimo the dog. Shout out to Flo. No, he was on our show and then he's won re-election.
Yeah,
and we had invited the opposition leader Peter Dutton. He was welcome onto the show. Okay, invited is a strong term, but he was welcome. Yeah, and but he's off now.
I mean, in grade terms, it felt very much like runs against the bottom side because that was a landslide.
Yeah, that was second innings stuff.
Junk time,
as they call it. But we must hand over to the people who make this show what it is.
Yes, we must.
Should we not? So
we must.
The following is this week's set of speak pipes.
Does the Liberal Party need Paul Roos to come in and just to do a job, to sort of clean the decks, create culture? Not that they're going to win a comp, but just to see if they can make finals, maybe.
Boys, I've got some Melbourne Football Club stuff I really want you to listen to. And as I'm a woman and I'm sending in a speak pipe, I think it's kind of in your purview to listen to me. So, Melbourne football drama. I want the media to stay away from Clary, Clayton Oliver. I want the media to give more respect to Max Gawn, Maxi. And I just want everyone to respect the fact that it's coming home. Okay, I think that's Premier League stuff. Anyway, gotta go. Bye.
So at what point during this election can the Labor Party enforce the follow-on?
Here come the Bears. Here come the Bears. Here comes another same game multi.
Just your weekly reminder that the Canberra Raiders were favourites for the Wooden Spoon approximately 10 weeks ago. Currently sitting in second place at 7-2 records. Up the milk.
Rugby league. I guess it can't be Magic Round without 17 Broncos disappearing. Abracadabra. We lost another 2 points. Fantastic.
Boys, explain the election to me in grade terms or footy terms. Is Dutton wheelie bin park shit? Is he chasing cash in the country as a footy star? What's he going to do next? Speaking of wheelie bin park shit, how good's county cricket? Number 10 comes out. It's Still comes back for 2. Still has his mobile phone in his pocket. It's good cricket. It's a really good comp. Go Albo. It's all Floribo.
Boys, I am in sporting utopia right now. NBA and NHL Game 7s. Oscar Piastri winning, magic round, Carlton stinking the joint up, and Jack Dalla Madeleine is fighting for a title against what's his name this weekend. Oh!
Yeah, don't really have much. Go the Sea Eagles. Go Oscar Piastri. Bryson DeChambeau.
Thank you to everyone for your contribution to this week's Speak Pipes. And indeed, I think the boys, I've not read the boys actually, but you have told me there will be a litany of mistakes read out, and only rightfully so. So looking forward to that punishment towards the back end of this show. Pezza, just start with the NRL. Not that there's like really some big, meaty stories this week perhaps, but I'm just looking at the NRL ladder right now, right? Bulldogs, Raiders, Warriors, 1, 2, 3. I don't know, who could have predicted that? But, especially the Raiders. That is, it was in the Speak Pipes just then from a gentleman from Milkland, I presume. But this is, Panthers 15th right now, and everything else in between doesn't matter. Tigers are in 8th, I suppose. That's something interesting and exciting for those fair fans. But it's a wild season. It's a fun season. Are you into it?
Yeah, I am into it. That's the salary cap, rhythms actually working. It's upward pressure on the competition, the value of those players go up. They then get redistributed to other teams, and those other teams start doing well. It's just that there's been heaps of teams, or a handful of teams, that somehow seem to be able to circumvent the salary cap and just always stay good. And that's because of a junior pathway system, generally speaking, that wonderful pathway system in Easts.
Decisions at the boardroom level.
That's right. Just a very strong front and back office.
Front and back office,
that's right.
yeah.
It's a people-making organisation. It's a people-first culture.
Are you front or back office?
Depends on your preference, but
Magic round, obviously this
Magic round. So none of the Queensland teams won in the Cauldron of Queensland. Is that something? Not really. Charlie, someone's at your door.
There's a knock at the door. I presume it's from the BCCI.
Probably.
Yeah.
We can keep recording while you answer the door, Charlie. Bring him in. The person in. Yeah. Fine gentleman.
Oh, it's Craig Bellamy blowing up at us for a loose penalty.
Look, it's Mumbai Indians.
Yeah. Chucky's just looked through the peephole there. I've enjoyed that.
He's gone through the peephole. He loves that.
Are you front or back office?
Commentate this live. Who we got?
I can't tell.
Yeah, okay.
I can't tell. I can see cash is being exchanged.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say about what's happening right now.
You cannot order massages in here, Charlie. It's not safe. We had this discussion with DFAT.
Yeah, 4 hands. He's gone for the 4 hands massage.
He's with velvet hands. They have that here too.
Anyway, yeah, we are accruing eye-watering numbers for strikes from government officials in this country.
Well, look, let's have it right. Obviously, yeah. Have we spoken since we've been in the press?
No, we haven't.
Because we recorded Circus last week. Yes, so from India. So I think we have, but
all right.
No, it's just generally speaking, you say something a little, on the edge, and you hear about it. Yeah. And not you don't tend. Sometimes you hear about it through official channels. Mm-hmm. You'll receive a legal letter in print. Mm-hmm. Other times you just get phone calls. You know, and that's all good.
Well, speaking of blow-ups, there was a great game, Golden Point game, Raiders knocking over the Storm.
Oh, hell of a game.
And people's enjoyment seems to be around Craig Bellamy, coach of the Storm's blow up in the sheds afterwards with 2 of his star players. Yeah. And rarely does a coach do it better than Craig Bellamy.
Yep.
There is a certain venerability behind the eyes to the spray.
Yeah.
It's a
hairdryer.
He's given him the hairdryer treatment.
Yeah, that's right. Drying my hair with the warmth of his mouth.
He's yelling.
Is that how that's meant to work?
Well, I think he's yelling at him so much that the hair has been blown back in the face.
Yeah, and it's drying.
And it's drying.
With heat.
I think that's the origin of the.
Got it. Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So that's been good. That was a great game of footy as well.
Yeah, it was.
But I wonder what is there a code that does the spray better? Because I think there's brands of spray. In cricket, the spray is so tormented because of what the sport is. It's such a tortuous game. Anyway, mentally speaking,
well said.
And rugby league has a different kind of spray to a rugby union spray, and an AFL spray is more in your fire up category. I was watching someone run a marathon once. I forget her name.
Yeah. I think that, like, if I could sort of give a few of my thoughts on this, which is generally the idea of this platform, but I think that the spray is most venerated in Aussie rules. I think it's folded into the culture. It's spoken about most. It's got the most kind of synonyms to it, like somebody going whack, and that kind of thing. And like the verbal culture of Aussie rules that, with more breaks than other sports, and the fact that they just fucking talk non-stop makes it like a rich culture. I think in rugby league, it's like someone sort of blows up deluxe. I think rugby league's where blow up deluxe comes from. Mm-hmm. I think the spray in cricket is the internal monologue spray. Like, honestly, I don't think cricket has a huge spray culture.
Nah.
Like in the sheds after the game, if the captain's giving you a spray because you've lost and saying get to training, you normally your head's down, you're smiling because you've made eye contact with somebody else. You're thinking about going to a party, and you're doing performative disappointment. I think most sprays are people spraying themselves in cricket after they're out, and that is torment.
Yeah. Also, I feel like with Aussie rules, because there's obviously like man marking, right? So like you have a battle, lots of shit being chat out there. Whereas in league, basically teams are 10 meters apart at all times, more or less. So anyway, should we talk about sprays in the AFL? If you want to move on, do you want to talk about something else in the league?
I just want to shout out Raiders fans as well, because I just think there's a whole generation of them who got on board when they were playing the most scintillating rugby league known in the history of competition, as it was played early on by Daly Messenger, etc.
Right.
When they broke away from rugby union in 1908 or whatever the fuck it was, after William Webb Ellis and picked up the ball from soccer and so on. Of
course.
I think the Raiders played the best footy probably in the early to mid 90s with your Mullins, with your Nadrukas, Sticky, Daly,
Mal.
Brad Clyde, Malcolm, Kenny, and then pretty soon after that, it's been grim times in a way, but they've always they're just a great blue collar team, the Raiders. They roll their sleeves up. No one wants to play there, supposedly because of the cold and lack of appeal of the nation's capital. But Stick just gets a tune out of them, and they're just a team that rises above the sum of their parts. And that's it. Just a shout at the Raiders,
and they'll finish 11th.
And good luck.
I feel like the Canberra, winter culture, really revolved around Raiders in the 90s, and they're folding into early 2000s Brumbies with your Larkhams and your Gregans and your
late
Joe
90s,
Roffs.
I'd say late 90s, early 2000s. When Rod McQueen had them a little bit as well, and then just folding in there. Finnegan. With your own Finnegans. We could go through some teams. Just go through some names there.
Yeah, into your Julian Huxleys.
Which
are slightly later.
Okay, get some obscure. Radiki Samo.
There's about two people going, "Oh, that's awesome."
Someone's quickly. I'm now going. I think he might have played for Queensland as well. Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know.
Yeah, but Raiders footy stuff. I like it. I like the area. I like the catchment area around it. It's a good rugby league footy heartland.
Into your sort of your Fishwicks, your Queanbeyans.
Yeah, your Queanbeyan. Exactly. Oh, feels good to say this in Bandra West, Mumbai.
Okay, well, Willie Rioli slid into the DMs, Pezza. Okay, so there's been an update on this as well, but for those that are unaware, Port Adelaide player Willie Rioli sent an allegedly aggressive message to Western Bulldogs player after the Powers' 90-point loss on the weekend. So, this is as per our friend Tom Morris. But basically, the AFL and Port Adelaide will take no further action over the private message. But Tom Morris on Channel 9 said this.
Tom's taken action.
He has taken action.
Right.
Yes. The guardian of the galaxy in football terms. Rioli's direct message to a teammate of Dale was words to the effect of, quote, "I have lots of friends in NT. He should be very careful about leaving the hotel in Darwin next week." And that's apparently the polite version, according to Tom. So he was fined $1,000 for striking Bailey Dale, but he'll be clear. He's clear to play in the showdown against the Crows this weekend. So this whole thing has become extraordinarily grim. But so Rioli deleted an Insta post of his. I think it was an Insta story. after receiving a bunch of just racist.
We talked about this with Alex Pierce, FYI, while you were
Oh,
away.
okay.
So, no, but
Sorry.
you're giving the context. No, it's fine.
So, and then that story that he posted was about his hatred for Hawthorn. That's, of course, in relation to his and his family's history with that particular club. His coach, Ken Hinckley, said that Rioli was doing okay, quote, and that he had gone through a lot and was a remarkable person. So it has come out in the last hour as we're recording this on, what day is it today? Tuesday afternoon in Mumbai. I suppose it's Tuesday evening in Australia. That last year, he was playing against Geelong Rioli, and he had said something to a player, an unnamed player, on the field. And that player was quite upset about it, to the extent that the Geelong Footy Club then contacted Port Adelaide about that behaviour. So I think there's so many elements to this, but it does appear that what happens on the field stays on the field to a degree. A lot of shit being spoken on the field. That happens in every sport, of course. But then when it's like after the heat of battle has died down, and there is there's basically threats being made on Insta DM. All of it's pretty grim. And then, of course, what Ken Hinckley said can also be true at the same time. That he, as a person, had gone through a lot and was a remarkable person. But also can also be true that sometimes your behaviour is pretty fucking grim, and a coat is a coat is a coat. But then it's also like, well, why is that? So I think I'm fairly sitting on the fence there, unhelpfully to a lot of people. But I think all things can be true.
You probably don't want to, threaten people around like what would happen if they set foot in your home.
Yeah,
like I don't think you're like failing to see the complexity of the Rioli family story by suggesting that like better to put that cue back in the old rack there, pal. Mm-hmm. But you can also say like, and Alex said this on the show. We'll get to Alex in a second.
Palestine.
No, damn it, leave it. Alex said that Willie Rioli is a good bloke.
Right.
And if Alex says Willie Rioli is a good bloke, then I agree with Alex. And I have to say, and I know this is very, very frustrating to people when, you're not really dealing with the issue itself, but Willie Rioli was really lovely to Ted, my boy, in the Port Adelaide sheds a couple of weeks ago. Had a photo with him, and I think he's got a little boy called Ted as well. So, I can actually attest to a very positive personal interaction with him, But, that's just like, hey, newsflash, people are complicated. And as you say, sometimes they do coat things and other times they do good things.
Right, yeah.
But unfortunately, that's a really poor take because you have to...
It doesn't help you.
It doesn't help in this media landscape at the moment. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. Now, let's get on Alex Pierce.
Yeah, I'm ready to jump into the volcano.
Mate, me too. Well, look... just catching up on this from Mumbai, but just grabbing a couple of clips. Caro goes whack. And look, does she go? She's just Caro is very in a very concerned way. Just raising the fact that there's a bit of concern around the league that Alex Pierce has liked and potentially shared stuff from the Irish band Kneecap. Who have been, vociferously pro-Palestine amid decent reasons.
Yeah. As album looms.
And I just... But the thing is, I saw Caro, and I saw her, throw over to Hutchie as well.
Yeah.
And we know where he sits on his stuff. And I just have to say... Alex Pierce is a disgrace.
Yeah.
Once again. All of that liking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He needs to really watch what he's doing.
Yeah. He's got to wind his neck in.
I mean, first is Palestine Pete.
Yeah.
Who's who's, as we've said before, and for those who, don't listen to the Great Cricket at all, and they've just discovered the circus.
Yeah.
Peter Lawler, senior Australian cricket journalist, and I'm happy to say this again.
And a one-time respected friend and colleague.
That's right.
One time.
No longer.
We've
doubled down our SEN work since his disgraceful episode. I've just retweeting some stuff for a while. It's just the wrong retweet.
Yeah.
But as we said then, we'll say now. He's Palestine Pete, and he's a rabid terrorist and anti-Semite. And perhaps We have to extend the same criticism to Alex
Well, I
Pierce
was gonna say-
with all this liking.
I was going to say, I've got friends in Israel, and if Alex needs to be careful when he steps foot out of the hotel,
To Tel Aviv, mate. Don't you fucking go near there, mate.
it's fucking my town.
Wind
okay?
your fucking neck in, mate.
And I'll be DMing his friends. to that
I
effect.
just want people to call and say stop. I guess. Alex Pierce, one of the great people. One of the great people.
I
And
seem-
people
he-
should fucking
yeah, he
leave
seemed
him
like
alone.
a- I'm sorry-
honestly,
I'm
people
sorry I
getting
wasn't-
knickers in a twist.
I'm sorry I wasn't there for that. I feel like I missed out.
That's all right. You were getting married.
Getting married and that.
Anything else from the footy? Swans
Yeah,
are back.
well, Swans are back, obviously, as they slide to 14th in the table. So things looking pretty good. But just got a great record against GWS, who are... GWS's banner before the game, it says... I can't remember verbatim because it was a rhyme, but it was like...
And you've had sex before.
We lost a grand final, but you got smashed in two. That was like the thing. And then they posted after the game, like they just blacked out all the rest of the words and they just said, "We lost." It was pretty good humour.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of humour. Swans are back. Anyway, Hawthorn's Nick Watson has been the third player to be fined this year for flipping the bird pezzer. Following,
Right.
of course,
Man, people are loving this.
Harley Reid earlier in the year against the Lions, and then Bailey Smith has been done twice, hasn't he? So three guys now at 4 instances, flipping the bird to the fans, fined. Game gone stuff for me. It does sort of sit on the edge of, can you go to a game and say anything you want to a player? It sits in that family, but now players just seem to have no recourse. There is no outlet for them
Absolutely.
to just fucking sit there
Shut
and
up
take
and dribble.
Yeah.
You just play.
Exactly. So
You're an empty vessel.
Yeah.
And I pay my money.
Yeah. I like the what's the Channel 9 show with Tom Morris and which
Charlie loves
one?
that.
James Hurd's on it, and
Yeah, we're doing our business at Channel 7 a whole heap of good on this episode.
damn it, I forgot we did that. Yeah.
And then another one. I forgot we do it.
I like their take. It's just like, are we really offended by this stuff? How much are we really offended by this? Think of won't somebody think of the children? I don't know, but then again, maybe you can't just tell someone to fuck off with a hand gesture. Maybe you can't do that. I don't know.
You can do it all, and then you can just have consequences for it. I just think if you're running a football club, and that's what you have to call it, Aussie rules, and your players sticking their finger up at fans in front of your own members and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you're probably gonna remonstrate with that player. And just as an adult, it's like, mate, like. I mean, who's sticking their finger up these days?
Now that I think
I'm
about
not
it,
allowed to, but it's very it's funny. So there's don't get me wrong, a lot of stuff's funny. I can take a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff's quite funny to me. But I mean, if you're a professional footballer, you're obviously allowed to do it. Like, my life's going to go on, but you're just like, if you're in charge of the football club, you're like, mate, probably wind your neck in.
There is no catharsis with putting your finger up. There's no release of satisfying. Like when you're driving home from an argument, you think, fuck, I should have said that. Or even if you feel like you're yelling at someone, at least you're getting something out of your body. You're getting the demon out of the body.
Yeah.
You're like walking up to someone and be like,
Yeah. Is
that a meme? It's like two guys in New York doing that to each other.
Yes.
Like walking around to each other,
You can't
crossing
get
the
much
road.
purchase on it.
No
Do
purchase.
you remember this one? You can't no one can. Do you remember what people used to go? It's almost like the reverse, calling for DRS. You know what I mean? Like you create a horizontal line with your forearm, just to explain audio to people, and then you basically uppercut the middle of that arm,
right?
Like you come underneath.
Underneath it, yeah. It's so juvenile.
What is it? It's like, what have I taken?
See, that feels better than giving the finger to someone.
You're basically hitting yourself.
Imagine walking up to getting into a fight with someone in the office and walking up and being like,
yeah, exactly. Oh,
because you got to get your face involved with flipping the bird as well.
Oh, yeah. Do you stick the thumb out to the side?
No, I never did that.
Yeah,
I thought it was a bit camp for me, that one.
Oh, thumb out to the side.
Yeah.
Like sticking the pinky out, drinking a cup of tea. Thumb out to the side.
That's right. Yeah.
But you get a bigger surface area.
Yeah, that's
covering
true.
more surface.
It looks more like an anchor when you do that way.
Yeah, I like it.
You
like tucking
that
thumb in.
I'm tucking in from the
yeah. And you also just when you tuck the thumb in, you create a bit more focus on the offending finger itself.
On the bird.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I think it's a bit more classical for sure.
Yeah.
Where are you at on like where your index finger is? Like how is it bent right next to it, or is it a loose grip?
I've got a loose grip situation going. I think with it. Yeah. Oh no, because I tuck it in with my thumb. I hope people listen to this on the bus to work on a Wednesday.
Yeah, well, no, they're on the bus or whatever, and they're just doing little ones to themselves, just trying to see where their thumb is. Am I pushing my thumb out with that?
Yeah.
And that's football.
And that's football this week. Hey, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Pezza, he's leaving Liverpool. Trent. He's leaving Liverpool. It's big news in the football world this week. Of course, Liverpool have already wrapped up the league and the Champions. The relegation place is already done, so there's that. So there's a bit less interest in what's going on in the Premier League per se. So Trent leaving Liverpool is a big deal. You know, a guy from his playing for his boyhood club, living everyone's dream. You know, he's lived the dream. A couple of Premier League titles. There's a Champions League in there. A couple of there's a League Cup, there's an FA. Yeah, he's done the thing that you all wish that you wanted to do when you were a kid, and that's to represent the team that you liked as a kid, and then win all the things, I suppose. And now he has the opportunity to play for the biggest club in the world, that is Real Madrid. And as it's understood, he has a verbal understanding or a verbal agreement, somewhere in between there, that he will play for that club. So people are... Yeah, it's an interesting one, like, you know, when it's reported, because it's an interesting story. He's a very high-profile player, you know, representing the community that he plays for. But it's an interesting one when it's reported, because it's like you sort of feel like you're telling people how to feel, or like trying to project how you feel about it on what everyone else should feel as well. And I have no doubt in my mind when I think about it or when I speak about it as a Liverpool fan and you know, a Trent Alexander-Arnold fan, that I almost feel not in a position to talk about it because I'm just not from Liverpool, you know. And I will never understand. I can listen to you know, the Anfield Rap podcast and you know, and hear their takes, but I won't feel the same, because to me, I was born in Sydney, so you know, I don't have the same connection. I don't have the same relationship to the football club. Exactly. Yeah. At the academy. So
is it Narrabeen Sports Academy?
Yeah. So you know, it's me personally, when I, you know, from the outside, it's like, well, it's sad because he's one of the best players,
yes,
and he will be impossible to replace. They'll have to find a new way to play, you know, from right back. But if I was in that position that like Real Madrid wanted you, I'm probably going to try and play for them for a bit. And even if it doesn't work out, you know, I think that's what's interesting, like where he goes after that, because it's unlikely that he would be able to find his way back to Liverpool, because I'd have to buy him. And he's going on a free transfer. That hurts. That does hurt. Even though he came up through the academy, so Liverpool didn't buy him, didn't pay anything for him, but he would be worth... I mean, fuck, I don't know what right backs are worth now. He'd probably be worth like 75, 80 million, something like that in the pounds in the current market. But if I was him, I'm like, oh, that seems fucking pretty awesome, man. I hope it goes well for you. But, you know, I understand why people from Liverpool are like really upset. Yeah, more contact.
There they are again.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
Oh, I have very few feelings about Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving, but I really enjoyed that 7-minute monologue that you needed to get off your chest about him. No, look, what I find increasingly interesting, I think that Zoom's about to fall off the bed, Charlie, is in the past, you know, and like I'd say even as recently as like a decade ago or 2 decades ago, the notion of English players leaving for the continent was quite like rare, and you'd hear stories about, like, you know, players not wanting to learn other languages or having to eat other food, even though most of the time that food would be vastly superior to whatever they were being served at home. And but it just seems more and more it's quite normal for England's best players to go and ply their trade on the continent. You know, what, Harry Kane's there, Jude Bellingham's there, now Trent Alexander-Arnold. And
there's very few that have gone to, like, basically the only top English guys, they only go to either Barcelona or Real Madrid. They don't seem to go to Atletico, or I know guys have, but like so like Lineker played for Barcelona, Beckham went to Madrid, Gareth Bale, you know, Welsh obviously went to Madrid. There's Bellingham there now, I guess Trent Alexander-Arnold, but like they don't seem.
Who's a left back who went to Atletico? Just to annoy you there, he scored a goal in the World Cup.
Left
Kieran?
Trippier.
Trippier,
went,
yeah.
yeah.
He went to Atletico.
Right back. Yeah.
Right back, pardon me. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
1-1.
I saved you on the boys actually there. I hope I got that right.
No, I think you did. Look, I remember the first time I experienced my sporting hero leaving my team.
Yep.
So it was 1994. It was like the end of the 1993 season. And my favourite player at the Bears, Darryl Halligan, was leaving to go to the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs, yeah.
And as a 7-8-year-old, it would have been 8-year-old. Like I fundamentally didn't understand.
Right.
I understood players arriving at my club.
Totally.
That was great. I didn't give a fuck where they came from.
It was a destination club.
Absolutely, absolutely. But like, I loved his goal kicking. He also looked a bit like my dad, so maybe there was a imprinting thing there as well. Like, he was such a novel player at the time. Like, he was one of the earlier adopters of round the corner style kicking in rugby league. Not the earliest, but and you know, he was a New Zealand rugby sharpshooter, you know, from Waikato, and he was leaving for the Dogs. And I remember being in our family home, and I was really upset about it. And then I don't know why he did this, but my dad said, "Would you like me to call John Quayle, who at the time was the head of New South Wales Rugby League? Would you like me to call John Quayle and tell him to change it?" And I said, "Yes." I did. And so my dad's obviously had a couple of beers. He's winding me up. But I remember standing there watching him, and he dialed, like, using the old phone. He's on the landline.
Rotary.
Yeah, the rotary. That's right. Dialing his number and pretending to have this chat with John Quayle. I'm like, great. Because, you know, your dad could do everything.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, Dad, like, he's just sorted this out. I can't remember how he let me know that he probably thought, fuck, this kid is going to struggle in life if he believes that's what I'm doing. So, but then, you know, the Bears brought in Jason Taylor, so, you know.
Swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, swings and roundabouts, I suppose.
Yeah, I did see one take on Twitter, because Trent has said, you know, in his statement, of course, he's left himself open because it's quite a long statement, and by that I mean a long tweet. But in that he said, like, you know, I'm looking for a new challenge, and someone has picked apart that I follow on Twitter, and they're saying, like, you know, I disregard the notion that playing for Real Madrid is a challenge. You know, they're a stronger club in a weaker league. I'm not sure that's entirely true, but you know, and that you're going for better food and better weather. There's a better climate in Madrid. I mean, that is true. There's lots of hard things, I'd imagine, about living in parts of the north of England. Not to generalise about that entire region, but yeah, then, like, you think about living in a mansion in Madrid, and it's like, oh, I reckon that'd be a pretty good life as well. But it's not like, I mean, Real Madrid fans famously are some of the most difficult to get on side of all time of any sport in any league. So, and he has been heavily criticised for his defending. He is one of the all-time strikers of a football, I think, much in the Beckham mould, you would say. So anyway, it's
I think people just get up, like, they get upset at the implication. I think if you've won the Premier League in England, which is probably the strongest league in the world, has been, people become a bit miffed that you are rejecting that, you know, and everything that means. Is like, are we and I and everything that I love not good enough for you? And the answer is yes.
Great shout. Because I think, like, for me, that probably is the thing that, as a fan, you're like, oh, okay, well, this actually isn't the pinnacle, because for every footballer, basically, and with these kind of decisions, actually only emphasises that more, punctuates it more, that everyone wants to play for either Barcelona or Real Madrid, you know? And so even, like, if you're playing for your boyhood club and you're at a club at the moment, at that time in Liverpool, where they've just won the Premier League, they'd be a shout for one of the top clubs in Europe right now. There'd be a chance to win the Champions League next year. Not saying they will. They're just in one of the best positions to do that of anyone. And so even that's not enough, you know? Even that's not enough to keep, like, your players at your club, so then your team wins more, because the lure of truly the biggest clubs will always be there. So you're like, I don't know, you never feel safe and warm and happy, which is scary.
Yeah, I'll never be happy unless my club becomes the ultimate destination club that wins every single thing and never loses a player.
Yeah.
Has the most money. So we just need that.
See,
need some of that oil stuff to come through.
No one ever, like, leaves Real Madrid, do they? Like, no one, like, is like, you've got a couple of years left in the contract.
Everton now.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, now's the right time. I just want to play some more football.
Reverse Thomas Gravison style.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Let's
nice.
go.
Nice. Well done.
That's okay.
Uh,
Now you got Mary Fowler here. We have covered Mary Fowler's ruptured ACL. Have we not, Charlie? We did it. It just seems to be, and I look under the hood here for the listeners. He goes very dutifully compiles the agenda for this show, and there's a wonderful section here in detail about Mary Fowler's ACL. And what I like about it is that it occurs to me that guys enjoy talking about the higher incidence of females doing their ACL because we talked about this when Billy Darcy and Tim Hewitt were on the show, and Billy just was loving it. He was just loving talking about the higher incidence. And then after that, about 17 physios wrote into Boys Actually to explain why this actually happens,
right?
How it happens, etc.
Okay,
yeah.
So there's I think it was like 4 or 5 days ago, the BBC released something saying that FIFA is actually funding a year-long research project into the instances of ACL injuries in the women's game.
Well, I'll tell you what, they don't need to fund it because there's a couple of Boys Actuallys that answer it.
We figure it out?
Yeah, I'll just forward that to FIFA.
Yep.
Administration's like getting in touch with hello@greatcricketer.com. I mean, what's new? Or greatcricketer@gmail.
Yeah, we're going to have to be domiciled in like international waters so no one can get us.
Yeah, true. And it's the only way that you could be in international waters is to be domiciled there.
So last week we spoke about Europa League semi-finals, though, Pezza. And so United dusted Athletic Bilbao 3-0.
Saw it coming
in Spain.
Yeah.
So
someone's been, someone was going to get a kicking from.
Oh yeah, it was always coming,
you could just tell by the way they were playing.
And from the Australian perspective, Ange's Spurs won their first leg 3-1 in London. So right now, at this very moment, it looks like a United and Spurs final, and that final is going to be in Bilbao in Spain. The second leg obviously coming up, but and then we obviously want Ange to do well because basically it feels at the moment like Ange versus the English press feels like the Ashes. So I suppose we're trying to support our boy, especially after he said he was positive. He was posed the question earlier in the year about every second season you've been in the club you've won a trophy, and he was very diligent in his response, saying I do that every single time. And so now this is being his second season at Spurs. This is his final shot to actually do something, and this would be the biggest trophy Spurs have won in a long time. So go Ange. But you're a United fan, so are you in any way conflicted?
Well, yeah. I mean, because it's firstly, this United team's so bad that they are not in the final yet. Let's just be clear. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're 3-0 up, having played the away leg.
Yeah.
But they can fuck it up from there. Don't worry about that. But if they were to make it, yeah, I mean, I'd want my team to win the game.
Yeah.
And consign Ange Postecoglou to the dustbin of Spurs history. But no, I mean, I'd be thrilled for Ange if he won. I think he's an ornament to Australian sport with the attitude that he takes to sport. And I thought the way that he was ousted from his Socceroos position during the World Cup was a disgrace, and that it's set Australian football back. I think his ambition and vision is really inspiring. I love how he talks about sport. And I know it hasn't worked out at Spurs this year. I think they've lost like 17 games or something, haven't they? Mm-hmm. But I love that he has a crack, and I love that the higher up he seems to go in sport, the more he values his attacking principles. He doesn't shrink into caution or anything like that. But I mean, I think if Spurs get to face Man United in the final, they're a great shot at winning that game.
I think they've already beaten them 3 times this year.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep. Who hasn't?
Mate, let's talk about some cricket news.
Just quickly, there is news just in from David Riccio. Jarrod Hayne is named at 5'8" in his first official game in 7 years for the Wenty Magpies on Sunday. So,
okay. Expecting big crowds down there?
I would have thought so. Go on.
Kakisa Rabada has served his time, and I think we can all agree with that. He served his time. He's free for a drug ban. Bit going on. Nothing to see here. It's all good to go. Though Tim Payne does say it stinks. So, do you have the context, or should we just sort of, provide some bumbling analysis of the context of this? That he was done for he was playing for his side in the SA20, the South African T20 competition in January, and the result came through in April.
Yeah, I think last week. So this is South African fast bowler Giddey Rabada, relevant to Australia, who takes on South Africa in the World Test Championship final in a little over a month.
Yes,
at Lords. Last week Giddey Rabada, who had left the IPL, his team Gujarat Titans, in very quiet circumstances, with no real explanation, released a statement explaining that he had tested positive to a recreational banned recreational substance or something like that, and we didn't really know what the upshot of it was, or how long he'd be rubbed out for. We didn't know who the organising body was who conducted that testing. I believe we still don't know who that is. We didn't know how long he had been banned for, what the substance was. So the immediately from the announcement, there was this. There was a lot of people who were noting that it was taking a process very different to what we're used to when it comes to the management of people who fail drug tests for whatever reason. Normally it's kind of the entire brand of these these incidences is about transparency, but there doesn't seem to be much found here. So I think that takes you to where you are now. It emerges that he had been that this had happened in the SA20 competition in January, that he was informed while he was with the Gujarat Titans at the IPL that he has already, under the auspices, I think, of South African cricket, served his 1 month. He was banned for 1 month. He'd served it, and we might even be seeing him tonight for Gujarat Titans against MI.
He is eligible. He wanted to fly back and play.
Yeah,
and we are going.
He's on his way back, I believe, to the IPL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
and he's eligible for the. Yeah, so he'll take the field for South Africa.
So as we're recording this, we're about to go to our second ever IPL game. It's Mumbai against Gujarat, so we could actually see him be playing tonight.
Yeah,
he could fly back and he could play the game
That's
tonight.
Right.
So I understand part of his ban involved a drug rehabilitation program you had to go to. If you got caught drink driving, for instance, you have to go to some sort of program to learn why that's a bad thing to do. But now he's done that, and it's like, yeah, all good. But no one knows what the drug is, who did it, why it took 4 months for the result to come back, why he could play in that time. And the month just seems to have just come and gone, and now we're like, oh, okay, no, it's all good to go. Now, I suppose they're very much there could very easily be answers to all these questions, but I wouldn't mind having a look at some answers. I'll have a look at some answers.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that Aussies are going to get their knickers in a twist about this because Giddey Rabada's taken 300 Test wickets and he fucking gets Aussies out for fun.
Yeah.
And I think that if he's been, I think Cowan said this on ABC on the Grandstand Cricket podcast the other day. If he's been a snorty boy, or he's
Giddey a bag man.
That's right. Yeah, right next to Bengaluru's Bagaluru, and I'll tell you what, believe me, a couple of us have been there, mate. Don't worry about that. Yeah. Or if he was, say, smoking up, which again, there's players who've done that too, allegedly.
Certainly has been. That's an allegation, but
yeah, that's an allegation
in the media.
In some parts of the media. I mean, I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
You know what I mean?
Don't give a fuck.
I'm a bit wary of Aussies getting extremely grandstanding about it because we've just got this. We're like, oh, we had the opportunity to not have to play Giddey Rabada. I mean, South African Test cricket's already been decimated enough. The reason they're playing in this final is because they basically can't organise a game against any of the big teams. So they've just had to beat up
Sri Lanka at home.
Yeah, just had to be bully boys. I wasn't confused with Mark War's donkey. I'm a bit I think there is something to be said about the strange or unusual lack of transparency around it, but I'm not going, this is a disgrace. We really need to be policing these times when guys either have a joint or a line.
See, I like it to be something. I like it to be mushrooms or something.
Oh, that'd be
or like ketamine
awesome.
or some one of these like new age drugs.
Right.
That the kids seem.
I hope
to
it's
like to
horse
do.
tranquilizer.
You do a bit of H. You do any horse? Rebutted heroin in his system. So then I'd be interested, you know.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I'm a little bit like, well, if you're going to do it properly, like Stuart McGill. Rabada had a joint. Like, oh, you fucking pussy. McGill, now there's a man. What a man.
Let's keep going.
What a man.
Oh, what a man.
What a mighty good man.
What a mighty good man. There she goes. There she goes again.
County Championship going on at the moment, Pezza. There's a bit of a bat-off going on because I suppose we're sort of shuffling the deck. You know, who's getting out in the horse race for who's going to open the batting. I don't know the answer to that. I think there's way too much cricket happening. I think they probably already know what they want to happen. But you know, I guess it's exciting. It's interesting because the World Test Championship final is not interesting until the game starts. When the first game starts, and it's going to be that first session at Lord's. Prime time on I think it might start on a Thursday, maybe it's a Wednesday, and that's going to be great. It's going to be great for us to watch. You know, it's exciting. We're playing against a team we should win against, and that's good as well.
Yep. I think what's been left out of the conversation around the 11, which now needs to happen for 4 weeks straight,
right?
Where we read out like that Bo Webster made 85 in county twos or something.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. GB will be having a look at that. Don't worry about that. But I think that they will not include Constas, and I think that they will open with Marnus. They'll move Cam Green to 3 and keep Slug, and that's not for cricketing reason. That's because South Africa's big, and we need big guys in there.
Guys, yeah.
So you know, it's all good. We're like Cam Green's 2 meters. Slug actually is, isn't he?
He is 2 meters.
So like Cam Green's not even like this is what we need against South Africa against Shelbyville.
Yep.
So
I agree.
I just think we need big guys. We just need a couple of big frames on the paddock.
Well, speaking of big frames on the paddock, what about Josh Giddey playing a game, a pickup game in Frankston against Benny's boys? And Benny's boys got the better of Giddey's team, Vales, 110 to 84. I don't know if you saw the article in the Nine Papers, Pezza. There was a guy, I think his last name was Lands. I forget his first name. But he was talking what it was like about playing against Josh Giddey, and he was really excited. And he was like, "Yeah, I scored 41 points myself."
Oh mate, well you wouldn't. That's perfect.
Brilliant.
Probably makes score those points against Giddey, and you're thinking, "Oh, am I a shot here? Like, are we gonna talk?" Or
I think that that this is one of the fucking coolest sports stories of the week. No, like going around, like just imagine
he wanted to play with his mate, didn't he?
He just wanted to play with his mate.
Yeah,
he wanted to play with his mate. Yeah, and then his mate called up the coach or whoever's organising the roster and saying like, I got a mate who wants to play, and the coach was like, we've already got 6. and then his mate said, it's my mate Josh, and the coach goes, okay. Yeah, and then anyway, as it turned out, someone else pulled out.
Yeah,
obviously had work commitments or something.
Yeah.
And then he just turns up to this local court in Frankston, and there's Josh Giddey, who was playing in the NBA fucking 2 weeks ago. Half court buzzer beaters against LeBron and the Lakers, a month ago or whatever. All of a sudden, just turned out playing point against Benny's boys for Vales. It's fucking awesome.
Good shit. Yeah. Local gym, love it.
Another thing as well is Greg Popovich steps down from coaching. I think I mentioned that maybe a couple months ago, but it's become official now, stepping down from coaching after 29 years with the Spurs. Won 5 titles with the Spurs, Hall of Fame inductee in 2023, and just like some of his best work was like in the quarter time, second quarter starting interviews they get like with Doris Burke on the sidelines, and they get basically like 15 seconds. I think they get to ask 2 questions, and every time he used to give 1-word answers, just like in the most abrupt fashion. Yeah, it's good gear. He'll be missed by.
I think he was deeply respected. He did a lot of really cool stuff with Paddy Mills around his Indigenous heritage and folding that into the team. Like guys like him and Phil Jackson. Like Phil Jackson's got like the Sacred Hoops book and stuff, and like they take coaching to a new level. You know what I mean? It's like how in order to understand how to make the ball move and sing around the court, you have to study the Native Americans of the 1760s. But I did love how he coached it. He's like kind of like reminds me of Ange in the way they move the ball around. The ball really did sing around the court. I'm not going to pretend I followed it too closely, but shout out Pop.
They had a fucking great team at this era where they had like Tony Parker, Ginobili.
Ginobili's a good name to shoot, and like when you're shooting a mini basketball ring or something. A lot of people give it Kobe, Jordan, but like fade away, Ginobili. That's
left-handed.
Exactly. Just a little bit of advice and a bit of humour.
Let's talk about blokes with fucking enormous necks.
Sweet.
Piastri, he won the Miami GP. That's his 4th win of the season, and it also means he's won the last 3 races. Started 4th on the grid, and here's what he said: "I won the race this weekend, but I think the likelihood of winning many races whilst qualifying 4th is pretty low. I did a lot of things right today, but there was definitely some good fortune there as well, and a very quick car. I don't want to rely on that every single Sunday." So he got past his teammate Lando Norris, who had they had a gap of 9 seconds at one point in the race, but eventually won the race by 4.6 seconds for those playing at home. And then after the race, he hit the Giddey. Which is, of course, Pez, one of our favourite dance moves.
Yeah.
Especially here, always hitting the Giddey.
The Josh.
Always hitting the Josh Giddey in Frankston. And that just sort of highlights that every win these days must be celebrated with some sort of social play. He made
Absolutely.
a bet. He made a bet. He met the Minnesota Vikings guy who made this Giddey thing famous, and so he made a. Charlie, how across the Giddey are you, Chuck? It seems more your demographic than me. So I'm just going to bring you in here.
How
familiar are you with the Giddey?
I'm familiar with what it is.
Okay, yeah.
I wouldn't know how to execute it.
Have you ever hit it yourself?
No.
Because it's not something you do, is it? You have to hit it. You have to hit the Giddey.
Yes. Yeah. You can't just do it.
No, that's right. Okay. Anyway, so Piastri, good, I suppose, is the highlight. And well, I'll tell you what, three wins in a row, not bad.
3 for, yeah.
3 for. 4 wins for the season. I think 7 races in so far, something like that. Bad news, though, for other Australian sport, racing fans is that Alpine have reportedly axed Jack Doohan. He crashed out on lap 1 of the Miami GP. Pierre Gasly is Alpine's number 1 driver, so he remains.
Just the boys, actually, you're live. It's
gotcha.
Alpine.
Alpine?
Yes. That's how they
Alpine?
Yeah.
You fucking idiot.
Fuck.
Yeah. Reads like Alpine.
It does read like Alpine.
I can see, normally Charlie's hidden with the microphone when we do this, but the way you arced up, that neck snapped, whiplash styles, when Hugo said Alpine.
How'd you take the ball gag off by yourself?
And how'd you get out of the cage?
Yep.
Alpine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just F1 fan base, not the people you want to get on the wrong side of. Thought I'd get ahead of it.
Yeah, I should have learnt my lesson, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I think I've made several mistakes at F1.
That's right.
And I think we're about to get into some more mistakes that I've made recently.
Yeah, let's do it.
Off-field and on-field. But, okay, Alpine. So, anyway, Jack Doohan gone from Alpine.
Okay, it's time for boys, actually. And if you have picked up any mistakes, which is the great pastime of fragile men, then please shoot them through boysactually@gmail.com. We can all improve. We can all get better together.
There is nothing worse than listening to someone say something wrong.
Yep.
And this is the opportunity to say,
absolutely,
shut the fuck up, you dopey fucking cunt.
Yep.
Here's something I know better than you.
That's right. But be aware that upon delivering that news, you better be fucking inch perfect in what you write.
I hope you got Alpine wrong, Chuck.
Fuck. It doesn't get much worse than correcting a boys actually incorrectly.
It's actually Alpun.
Now, Zach.
I punned him.
Zach says, lads, love your work, but I've just heard Higgos absolutely mutilate the pronunciation of Giannis 4 straight times. It's Giannis. He's not Gian fucking Rooney. Not to be confused with Wayne Rooney. Get it together post-nuptials, please, Higgins. Pezza then sullied himself with 3 separate mispronunciations of the famed Barcelona Academy La Masia. It's not a fucking Mars bar, Pez dispenser. It's La Masia. Rhymes with panacea. La Masia. Does it? Panacea.
I'm not familiar enough with it.
Panacea.
I would just. I'll have to. Chuck's got the microphone up. I'll have to cop for Giannis. I thought.
Hey. It's not over yet for you.
Damn it.
Yeah. I know you want to be. Are we about to say something, Charlie?
No,
You
no,
brought- okay, when you bring the mic up to your mouth, that's
Yeah.
usually a sign that you're going to speak.
I just wanted it away from you so people didn't complain about echoes and stuff.
Oh, that's very
so,
thoughtful.
yeah.
He's a lovely boy.
Damn it. I hate it when he's nice.
I'm using the word panacea as it's definitely something I've heard you say on mic. You love a $10 word. Oh,
Oh, whack.
okay.
Whack.
Yours in jest.
Dumb it down for these fucking morons.
Yeah, that's right. Hate word. Yeah. Fitzy says, boys, just wanted to chuck in here the correct pronunciation of Giannis's name, just in case he headbutts someone else's dad again, justifiably. It's pronounced Giannis, and his last name is Ante Tecumpo. This is the Greek pronunciation of his name, which is just easier for us Anglo speakers. Recommend having a crack because it feels pretty good in the old laughing gear to say.
I was saying Antetokounmpo, as opposed to aunt.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, the way he's phonetically written it's I suppose it's inaccurate. Antay. So you're probably into a tomato territory there. But if you've heard of Antetokounmpo,
Oh no!
I don't think you're probably just staying out of it on this one. But Rowan says, "Hi boys, NBA fan and amateur Indo-European language learner here. Brackets. I did 100 days of German on Duolingo." And I'm shocked at Higo's pronunciation of certain European basketballers. Firstly, he said Doncic instead of Doncic, where the first syllable is pronounced somewhat between Don, brackets as in Bradman, and Dawn, as in Fraser. Secondly, Higo said Giannis's name wrong in two different ways. Giannis and Giannis, when in reality it is Giannis. I'm glad his surname, Antetokounmpo, wasn't required to be said. Yours in linguistic nonsense. Rowan, and it says brackets, Rohan.
So I was saying Doncic, was I, instead of Doncic?
No, you said Doncic.
Doncic.
Yeah, and it's Doncic.
Doncic. Okay.
Doncic. The Bison says, boys, with respect, Giannis Antetokounmpo is pronounced with a Y sound, not a J sound, i.e. Giannis. Furthermore, Luka Doncic is pronounced with a Ch sound, not a K sound. It's Doncic. You brought up 3 basketballers' names and fucked up 66% of them. Recurring.
Yeah, fair
Love
enough.
the show. Boys from the Bison.
Fair enough. I apologise.
A couple more. I know we've got to get going in a second. Rab says, good day, garçons. Re Fibonacci Premier League nonsense. It's Blackburn that have won the Premier League once, thanks to the exploits of Alan Shearer, not Blackpool. I know this thanks to arbitrarily choosing them as my club on FIFA 08. Regards, grown man with rabbits.
So I saw someone else. It might have been posted on the Patreon chat. Someone else said something about Blackpool.
Yeah, well, we should have picked that up because I don't know why.
I don't remember what the context was, but yeah. I think it's fair to say we both know that Blackpool has never won the Premier League.
Yeah, that's right. Just sometimes not paying attention.
Yeah.
Michael, whose post is entitled Thieving Our Great Barrier Thief Joy. Boys, actually, as an avid NBA fan, I was chomping at the metaphorical and physical bit that you'd cover the game I love. And here I was thinking last week you'd chosen to dip your toes in the NBA pool to highlight a hard-working burglar from down under applying his trade in the big leagues. I think you'll find that's plying his trade. But no, once again, you limit yourself like the mainstream media that will only stuff itself on the stale grey gruel that is LeBron and Lakers updates. Yeah. When sitting there is a delicious grass-fed, dry-aged Angus steak that is the news of our very own Dyson Daniels, who won the NBA's Most Improved Player. Sure, it's the wheelie bin cricket of NBA awards that are available, but it was won by an Aussie, so now it matters. Despite this award having no criteria and is usually given to a mid-player that is now, quote, popping off, a tip of the hat should be in order to Mr. Daniels.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just because he was on his phone the whole time whilst attending a Richmond game recently shouldn't take the shine off Dyson's achievements. I'm glad that it's now off my chest. I can get back to watching the playoffs avidly during work hours, not to the knowledge that I'll be creating shareholder value, but knowing that I've stood up for a fellow countryman in the face of the establishment. Cheers.
I tell you what, back in the day when I had a proper job, like NBA finals was great, like just for like finding someone in the office that could also get behind any sport. Yeah. You know, like the finals are in Australia on the East Coast, maybe like your 10 a.m.s to your sort of 1 p.m.s.
Yep.
And just brilliant, just to have on in the background and just some conversation where you're just talking about players that you barely heard of before, but finding someone in the office that you have common ground with.
Yes.
Also, nothing worse finding someone working in an office that they don't like the sports that you like or sport at all. That's tough to take. That's very tough
That
to
is
take.
very, very tough to take.
Yeah. What sports do you like? I don't really like sport. Get the fuck out of my face.
James says, and the title is Kane Corn's Walk and Talk Location Skepticism. Boys, actually, Pez mentioned last week's episode that Kane Corns was doing his walk and talk through what appeared to be the Qantas terminal in Melbourne. Fans of Kay Corns and his Fireball Friday antics with David King would be aware of Qantas' perennial loyalty to the Velocity Frequent Flyer program, I think is written, or program, with Corns recently alluding to the fact that he's a, quote, platinum virgin. Now, I need to look at this again, right? Because I think there's a bit of hood stuff here. Because I will need to look at it again, but I'm pretty sure that looked to be the Qantas domestic terminal that he was walking through.
Okay.
You know, when you get through security there and you turn right, and it may be that that Kane Corns is a platinum virgin. You know, but when he is doing his work with Channel 7, I'd imagine he's flying on the business account, which is, as we know, a Qantas account. So. We could be looking at a reverse boys actually, Uno styles. So
it does matter. It does matter.
It certainly does matter. I just left a little carrot there for people if they want it. James on and it's just entitled Wagga brackets again.
Oh fucking hell! People are onto this Wagga stuff.
Yeah, are we done? Are we done with Wagga? Chuck?
I think part of Charlie just drawing a line through
Read
it.
it out.
I think part of it is that people are so fascinated by you and who you are. Like the amount of people that have asked, "Where's Charlie?" when like he's basically the only other white person in the room.
Yeah, at our live shows.
At our live shows, is astounding. But like, people are fascinated by you, which I think is a sign of respect because people like you.
Yeah, it's like you just said people are fascinated by you. Like you wanted a comment from him on that. Like it's like because I don't understand it.
Yeah. I don't see it myself.
Yeah. Boys, listening to the ABC for some sweet post-election analysis brackets. I'm a depressed West Coast fan, and this is the most fun I've had on a Saturday since 2018. And a mention of a, quote, ram raid, pardon me, of a ram raid that happened in Wagga a while ago came up. Why hasn't Chuck mentioned this crazed sheep in a list of Wagga legends? No need for a name. I'm on enough lists already. Well, I gave a name. What's up with this sheep ram raid, Chuck?
Genuinely have no idea.
Is that when you were living in Bronte?
Anyway, I'll leave that with you, Chuck. This is another Wagga one. Andrew writes in and writes, Sam Perry, Wagga cricketer. Dear Sam and Ian, a double boys, actually, if I may. Firstly, I'm sure Charlie is all over this, but on the remote chance he's not across Wagga cricket matters, here is a little further info on podcast Sam Perry's namesake. Cricket Sam Perry is captain of Wagga RSL Cricket Club's first grade side. He's a handy leg spin bowler and occasional contributor at number 8. Secondly, apropos of claims last week about the Danaher brothers not being from Wagga, this is completely correct. What is not correct is that they were from West Wyalong. They are from, how do you say it again, Charlie? Someone's told me, it's not Ungari.
Ungarai?
Ungari, yeah. And someone said, I think you...
Doncic?
Yeah.
Which, although in the vicinity of West Wyalong, is not West Wyalong. Cheers, Andrew. David says, Wagga sports people cancelled. With all the Wagga chat, I thought you'd be interested in a recent change at my kid's school. The school is only 5 years old, and they decided to name the schoolhouses after Wagga sports people to honour their sporting success. Slater, Murphy, Rogers and Kelly. But with all the dodgy shenanigans of Slater of late, the school has joined the bandwagon in cancelling Slater and have changed all the house names to Australian Flora. But maybe they should have just asked Charlie for some suggestions with his vast Wagga sports people knowledge. I mean, I'm gutted for those kids who are in a house named like Kelly.
Yeah.
You know? And now because of Slater's indiscretions, now nobody can have a house named after a famous sports person.
There are so many people from Wagga that have contributed wonderfully to our sporting, successes.
Yeah. And let's say one now that's just out of Wagga that will piss people off.
Like the Danahers.
Yeah, that's right. Like Liam Martin.
Like Giannis.
I think that'll just about do us. Keep them coming.
I want to say I feel sorry for the Sam Perry, the captain of the cricket side, because that's going to be frustrating for him. Like he just wants to Google himself and look up stats.
Man, I fucking Google myself and I just get like pictures of Elise Perry. So
yeah,
it's fucked. It's fucked for everyone.
Any final words, Chuck?
No, I couldn't find anything on that Ram Raid story.
Yeah.
Just that it was in the Wagga paper, but it happened in Melbourne. So
I guess interesting times ahead.
yeah, that's me signing off.
Pezza, any words to these fuckers?
Listen, it's the hot word is that they are going to officially announce the return of the Bears on Thursday.
Oh my God.
So we like once again, I will. Despite Charlie, I don't know if he did it deliberately, actually calling last week's episode "The Bears are back" when I expressly said they're not. It's looking good.
Okay, but the game is
so
the game.
The game is the game. We move.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, thanks for joining us here from Mumbai. Next time you hear from us, we'll be in Delhi, I presume. Either that or it's probably going to be Delhi or jail. It's really
or before the Mumbai courts.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you guys in the circus next week. Cheers.